Hi everyone, we're at Hampden Park where Celtic have just booked their place in the final of the Premier Sports Cup. 1-0 against St Johnstone this evening. We're 90 minutes away from Ange's first trophy. Stevie joins me. It feels like a big win, Stevie.
Well, it was a big one. We had to get past St Johnstone. I mean, one way or another, whether that was a flashy win, a scrappy win, penalties, extra time, whatever way, it was just a case of getting to that final. And I thought at times today that it was looking really doubtful how we were going to actually get there. But the main thing is we've done it, and this team yet again have kept a clean sheet. They've got the winning mentality there, and to win without playing that great in a cup game, which is a one-off, it could have went either way. And the main thing is we got there, and that is pretty much what we all came here to see.
I personally want to spend the next 20 minutes chatting about James Forrest and how amazing James Forrest is, because I just thought when he came on he was absolutely excellent. But you speak about that St Johnstone Cup record, and it's, I think, 4 games at Hampden here. It's about 18 months since they actually lost a game in any cup until tonight. It was Celtic back in March 2020, so it was always going to take a big effort to beat St Johnstone tonight. I didn't think Celtic were scintillating tonight. I think we've seen Celtic better under Ange, but I thought it was a really important win tonight. You look back at previous managers, and I think you had a tweet earlier in the week about their first games at Hampden. Yeah. It's very rarely convincing for managers with their first game at Hampden, and I think at half time tonight I always kind of felt relatively sure that Celtic would find a way, but I think it's a really important win tonight. The fact the team kept playing their football, we keep looking for this result when Celtic keep playing their football and eventually find that breakthrough. And I didn't think it was as spectacular at all tonight, but we found that way to win. It was a huge goal from James Forrest, a guy who's back in the team. Basically, start the James Forrest propaganda. That's what we're all wanting here.
I've always liked James Forrest, though. I mean, I know that under Dyla and under Lennon, the first time, Forrest sometimes flattered to deceive, and he could rile some fans. I understand that. But generally, you look at his record, his goals and assists for us. I mean, the guy has been fantastic. And when he came on today, what's good about it is the fact that Forrest is a player that, what a position to be in when Abada, who I didn't think played that well, I could talk today, when his replacement is a guy like James Forrest. It's a very good situation to be in. And now what's good about it is the fact that Forrest has come on, scored, and it now gives Ange something to think about, because I mean, Abada seems like an Ange favourite, but now when you look at what Forrest has done in those 15-20 minutes, it's now going to get Ange thinking, going, it might even raise Abada's game a wee bit now. Abada's realising he's got serious competition.
Well, Ange was talking him up prior to the game, wasn't he? He was saying James Forrest is in the best place he's been since Ange came into the club. And I just thought James Forrest tonight was excellent when he came on. Obviously the goal's going to steal the headlines, but I just thought some of the bits of play he did when he came on, that he does things that I feel like if anyone else did them, folk would be going daft about. I feel like James Forrest is such an underrated player for Celtic. We'll go back to the first half. Generally kind of similar to a lot of games at Celtic Park lately. I think the last time St Johnstone came to Celtic Park a few weeks ago, similar kind of match. Livingston as well. It was I kind of felt we were in control of the game, but we weren't really creating that much. I mean, did you think how would you rate the first half? Would you say it had been a kind of slow performance, or were we always? Did you feel confident in half time we'd find a way?
I always feel with Celtic, as I always feel, we're a team, and I said that against St Johnstone a few weeks ago, that we always seem to prey on their mistakes. That's what we do, and that's how we get our wins against these teams. What I felt in the first half, though, I didn't enjoy it at all. I thought it was a really poor game of football. We didn't create anything. I think we were over-relying on Jota as well. Abada, we got nothing off him, so everything was down our left. And to be honest with you, St Johnstone did look pretty comfortable in that first half. Didn't like what I was seeing. And I'm never one to shout and ball at half time. It's alright to be frustrated, it's understandable, but I don't shout and ball and say, oh no, that's it, we're finished, we're away, if you will, because there's always a second half to come. You look at our fitness levels, as I keep saying, we're a far better, fitter team under Ange, especially when we have more of the ball and St Johnstone will do the chasing, and you expect that to happen in the second half. But no, to answer your question, certainly first half, wasn't happy with what I was seeing, and I was expecting Forrest to actually come on in the second half, like right away for the start of it. Very surprised that Abada stayed on, to be honest.
We did create chances though, didn't we? I mean, David Turnbull, I thought had a really good chance in the first half that should have been a goal. Yeah, I thought the first 10-15 minutes Celtic came out the blocks. It was almost a continuation from that game at Dundee, the way we played. And I think we were chatting about this just before we started recording. I think that first goal in every Celtic game is absolutely huge. And I think if Celtic get an early goal in games, stating the obvious, but it changes games because the opposition then have to come out, and I think we know how good Celtic are playing into space, when an opposition is chasing the game. I think as it goes on, the fans maybe start to get a little bit concerned about games, and St Johnstone are getting encouragement because they're holding out. They're not really having too many chances to defend.
All it takes is one break as well, which it's all right in saying we've got the majority of the ball and we're controlling it, but one break, I mean, you saw today, I think there was a lob by Kane or something. I know it went away and everything.
Way.
I know, but I'm just saying, one wee break like that, if they've got a player with more pace to get in behind, then that could be very, very, very different. Obviously, I'm glad it's not, but at the same time, it's always something to be wary of as games go on. And I was saying that to you, we always seem to need the first goal to really be in control and be really calm after it. And I'm hoping it's not always the case going forward. We will have to. There'll be situations where we'll go behind, and we'll have to sort of figure out how to win in that type of situation. But we're moaning about our hypotheticals here as well, and I don't want to be too over the top.
And it's a Celtic team without Tom Rogic as well, who I just think is such a key player attacking wise.
For their games, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. When a team's set in, and I thought we played a lot of good stuff in the first half. I thought the way we moved the ball at times. I thought Near Beaton in general had a really good game this evening. And it was just a case of getting that first goal, and then your whole, the whole complexion of the game changes. Second half overall, I mean, I kind of hesitate to say it was a lot different. Really, we had moments in the game. I thought Jota had a couple of really good runs in the second half. I think Kyogo had a couple of moments as well when the guy's just an absolute superstar. I mean, there's moments in the game when he kind of is on the periphery of the game, and then just straight away he'll just turn it on. He'll make a wee dart, and he'll control the ball, and he'll play someone in, and he just changes the game completely. But then we get that big goal, what was it, 20-25 minutes from the end. James Forrest comes on and scores it, and I just felt at that stage I felt really secure. I felt when we got that goal that I didn't really feel the game was in doubt at any stage at all after that, and I think that probably, I don't know if it says a lot about St Johnstone or it says a lot about the Celtic defence, but I always felt really, really in control in that game once we got the goal.
No, I did too. I felt when we made it 1-0, the game was over. There was no doubt in my mind that was it. We were in the final after it. And there's a lot of people round about. It's maybe different to how, it's quite interesting how we all watch games. Because we and you are watching it, 1-0, you felt that was it. Because St Johnstone, the rest of the game, had nothing up front. They didn't threaten whatsoever. There was a wee bit in the first half when Hart takes ages to clear the ball.
You had your heart in your mouth excuse the pun, but heart in your mouth at that stage, didn't you?
I was a bit annoyed, and so was everyone else all round about us, especially when it was a wee bit sort of over the... It was just very, very careless and complacent from him. But at the same time, generally I felt St Johnstone didn't offer much, and even when they went 1-0 down, they didn't throw anybody's forward. Our defence was very untroubled, and then that's why as soon as you get the first goals, they are so vital, because there's really no way back for these teams because we do control it after it. But no, in terms of the rest of the game, I thought we saw it out okay, but I think that's what we would have predicted anyway. But we're not the type of fans. What I was trying to get at was, it's interesting when you're watching these games around people, because I was not sitting around who I usually sit with at Celtic Park. And the people I was all sitting around were all on edge and all that, like at 0-0 and then went 1-0, and see when it's 6 minutes injury time, lads, a guy like nearly stressing out next to me, and I'm like, I don't understand it. I'm not here to mock or disrespect her, and they see the game different for me, but I just never felt that troubled. I really didn't.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I think 6 minutes seemed a lot, to be honest, but as I say, I think I didn't really feel troubled at all in that whole game. Even when they had set pieces, I always felt like we were kind of in control of that. I think people have got to remember this was Celtic's first game after an international break. We've had players in that starting 11 that have been all over the world over the last couple of weeks.
Of course, and the momentum wasn't always going to be there right after that. It's stop-start at this stage of the season.
Fans want you to kick on from that Dundee game, but it's never going to work like that. It was, I think, 6 or 7 players' first game at Hampden this evening. A huge Celtic support. I just thought it was an absolute immense. You're probably talking, 45,000 plus today, because, the St Johnstone support was pretty minimal. Celtic, Hampden was full tonight. That wasn't as if, remember, you go back years and semi-finals would be like a half-empty Hampden. Tonight It was packed, and the 5:15 kick-off had led to a lot of people having a few scoops before the game, and the atmosphere was brilliant. And we maybe sometimes just expect players to rise to the occasion like that, but it's a big scene. There's not many there's not many clubs, there's not many countries where you go to a semi-final and you've got 45,000 home fans, Celtic fans at the game, and I thought in general Celtic dealt with it really well tonight.
I we did, and it was another, it was another type of home game for us, wasn't it? But with far more atmosphere. What I found interesting as well was we always flag off Hampden, and we always say how there's no atmosphere at Hampden, and in general it's somewhere that we should be, the SFA should be looking to upgrade or just get rid of. A lot of people don't like it, but tonight I thought the atmosphere was fantastic.
I was at the two recent Scotland games, and Callum McGregor as well. I don't know if you saw him in the press in midweek. He was really talking up Hampden. He doesn't understand why people don't rate Hampden at all, and I thought the atmosphere was really impressive tonight. As we say, the 5:15 kickoff's obviously going to change it. I think the emotional part of tonight, with it being the first Celtic game since Bertie Auld died, was obviously going to change the atmosphere as well. Incredible tribute, you can see it there. I mean, the tifo before the game, the display was incredible, and the 67th minute as well with the flares and in the old traditional Celtic end. I really thought that galvanised the team as well at that stage. I mean, it was 0-0 at that stage. Celtic probably scored 3 or 4 minutes after that. I don't know if that's a coincidence. I really felt as if that really motored the team on at that stage. Who would you pick out in terms of individuals tonight that impressed you?
I thought Jota was good. I thought Jota was really good. I thought, even when things weren't coming off for him and everything, he was constantly looking for the ball, constantly trying something, and it was no surprise that it was the goal that was from that side. I think he put the ball in actually, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the referee, and I thought the referee was about to give a penalty for the handball. I mean, I've not seen it again, but I kind of missed the goal because I was so busy looking at the ref.
Yeah, just for the audience as well, I was at the game and I didn't get a very good view whatsoever due to Hampden being appalling for...
We've just been talking up Hampden now
for the atmosphere, but I'm talking about the actual view and everything. It was deplorable. But anyway, I didn't see the penalty incident you're talking about. I just saw the ball going in the back of the net. But no, Jota down the left was excellent, I thought, all game. And Cal McGregor, a lot of the first half, was just supplying him constantly. And in general, I just felt he was a man in the match for us.
Yeah. I want to pick out a couple of subs because I thought James McCarthy, when he came on, was excellent. Now I know straight away folk are going to be jumping on me saying, "Oh, that back pass was a bit dodgy." I get that to a point, but I also think, as I've said before in the channel, I think people are almost waiting to criticise James McCarthy. And I just thought when he came on tonight, there was a moment late on when he really tracked back well, and he did exactly what we want James McCarthy to do for Celtic. I thought he had a really good game. James Forrest I've already spoken about. I just think that guy, now he's finally getting fit. We kind of assume that James Forrest is just going to be, ultra confident at all times for Celtic. I think that goal tonight does a lot for James Forrest. It's his first Celtic goal, and I think Alkmaar was maybe the last one, but that was a kind of scruffy goal. I think that's a big goal for James Forrest tonight. I think he motors on from now. And as I say, I thought Nia Beaton was excellent in general. I actually thought Sorrow only played like 5 minutes at the end, but I thought he did well as well. Ayeti kind of did well. I think once again we saw subs coming on and getting right into the game plan, and I just think it's an absolutely huge win for Celtic tonight. We can watch tomorrow's semi-final right here at Hibs and Rangers, and we can see how that goes. Worst case scenario, we're booked here and we're playing Rangers, and we've got a derby to look forward to at the start of January.
And it's it's always going to be a show sort of case game into it against Rangers at Hampden. We saw how the last one went, and the repeat would be good. I think what's so big about this one is getting to that final, but is me, you and every other Celtic fan are just dying to see Ange lift a trophy with the club. We're dying to see this Celtic team win their first trophy. It's going to feel a lot like 97 when Wim Janssen's team, who will assemble...
He's talking about 97 to a boy that was born in 96.
What I mean is, okay, just listen to me. What I mean for everyone here is that Janssen team was assembled with 12, 13 players in the summer, and gradually, after a terrible start, like we've seen with Ange, they started becoming, such a likeable Celtic team. A lot of fans identified with them. And when they finally beat, it was Dundee United 3-0 at Hampden in the then Coca-Cola Cup final, it was just such a big win. They got that winning feeling. It was a mentality that they wanted more, and we would go on to win the league. And I just think you can't downplay how big Celtic winning a cup final is going to be for this team.
We're 90 minutes away from it as well. And as I say, I know you tweeted it earlier in the week, but I'd love to go back to the first games managers have had at Hampden, it very rarely is easy. You look at Rodgers' first game against Rangers, it takes a 91st minute winner from Dembele. Tonight, as much as it wasn't as dramatic as that, and it's obviously against St Johnstone as opposed to Rangers, it kind of felt almost just as important tonight that Celtic won that game. I still feel like there's kind of question marks about this Celtic team from a lot of people. I don't think from us, and I think a lot of people are convinced that this is going to be a success, but I still think there's a lot of people that are waiting on this Celtic team to fail. And I thought tonight, as much as they didn't play that well really in comparison to a lot of the performances, they found a way to win.
No, you're right.
And you go back 6 weeks, that was a big question mark about this team. Can they find a way to win when they're not playing well?
Saying it, Aberdeen away was the benchmark, I thought, for that.
And tonight, it's another away game. I know people won't look at it as an away game with the support, but it was away from Celtic Park, and Celtic found a way to win that, and I think it's going to be huge, looking forward.
I think you're right. I was complaining about it, saying it was all well when we were winning, we were swatting aside teams, playing excellent football, but we couldn't mix it. We couldn't anything like the Dundee United at home game and everything, and even recently Livingston in that as well. That we always needed other teams to make a mistake before we could take advantage of it. Livingston didn't, and then it got to question marks again, going, are we going to see a regression here? But no, it didn't happen tonight. We kept going at it, and we ground out a way to win, and it was just a massive one for us. I
know you write pages of notes, so before we move on to the late great Bertie Auld, have you got anything else you want to note from the game?
I just want to say that I thought Enter Sandman come at half time was class. That was brilliant. But no,
I need to put Stevie in it here, by the way. When I met Stevie I wasn't sitting with Stevie, I met him after the game, and you were pretty irate, let's just say, another Celtic fan in the stand. So
okay, am I going to have to shoot here?
Go for it.
Alright, well,
hopefully he's not watching, by the way.
I'm very reluctant to do this because, and look, the dust is settled. That was half an hour ago, but I was next to a boy who watched the game, in fact, for about maybe 10 minutes in total. He spent 80 odd minutes just watching with the Green Brigade. I'm a fan of the Green Brigade, and I love what they do, and I love what they bring to Celtic, but I go to games to watch Celtic. This boy was just staring at the Green Brigade constantly. At one point I'm like, they're not going to come on at left back, mate. So well, I'm glad they didn't, because Juranovic is there. But yeah, I mean, it worked me into a shoot. But see, other than that, I'm a happy man this evening, everyone.
And that takes a lot of doing as well.
Thank you.
I just thought tonight was a pretty emotional evening as well. The Bertie Auld tribute, the tifo or the mosaic before the match, I thought was spectacular from the traditional Celtic end. I thought the 67th minute,
unbelievable,
usual, phones with the flash on and the flares in that Celtic end as well was spectacular. And as I've said already in this video, I felt that really boosted the Celtic team at that stage. I know Celtic have got other things lined up for next weekend at home to Aberdeen. I think that's going to be a really emotional game as well, with it being the first game at Celtic Park. But yeah, I feel like that win today's kind of for Bertie Auld a little bit. I think it's a big win, and I think I'm sure it's one that Bertie Auld would be delighted about.
I know it was. Can you imagine though? It's good to win that as well after what happened sadly last week and all the tributes today and all that. Can you imagine not getting a result after that? It would have been so deflating. But it was just amazing, that 67th minute, the amount of energy around about us. It was such a positive atmosphere. It was nice as well. So I think that was so good about it. It was a sad thing, absolutely devastating thing that happened, and it was a sad atmosphere. And it could have poured into a bit over the top with the grief. But I think a lot of people were celebrating Bertie more than anything, instead of being so downbeat about it. So a lot of celebration. The type of man he was, the type of player he was, and that's what we saw tonight. Just an outpouring of joy for him, and it was just great scenes, and I'm glad we got the win for him.
Agreed. And we got a couple of renditions of a couple of great Celtic songs. We got the Ange Last Christmas, which is obviously going to be a hit over the next 6 weeks or so. If you're watching this and you don't know the Ange song, find it out and get it rehearsed. And also the Everywhere We Go, watching Glasgow Celtic, which, by the way, I just need to say Stevie isn't a huge fan of.
Don't dob me in it, theories. And I'm going to get hundreds and hundreds of negative comments now. I just don't think it's that great, mate. It might grow on me, okay? Maybe it was because I was standing beside and all that as well, while doing my head in singing it. I'm trying to watch the game. And
Right, don't give Stevie abuse anyway, because
Thank you.
He's a legend. But Stevie, thanks so much for joining us. It's Celtic in the cup final under Ange. We've got a chance. We're 90 minutes away, or maybe 120 minutes away from winning Ange's first trophy for Celtic. We'll be back here at the National Stadium, I think the 19th of December. We're looking at that St Mirren game is going to be moved, so that's going to be a huge afternoon. And yeah, a big win for Celtic this evening. It just keeps the momentum going. You know, we go to Thursday night now against Bayer Leverkusen in a great frame of mind, and we're just raring to go. 11 games now until the winter break, and it's all going to be Celtic from now on. I'm just so glad we've got Celtic back. I'm so glad we won tonight, keep the momentum going. And yeah, Ange's Celtic answered another big question tonight.